What if the only thing more terrifying than a serial predator is realizing that the system designed to protect the vulnerable has been quietly failing them for decades? In Nine Missing Girls, Steena Holmes delivers a procedural thriller that transforms the case file format into a searing indictment of institutional neglect, proving that, in the world of missing persons, silence is often the most dangerous accomplice. This isn't merely another FBI procedural with forensic breakthroughs. It's a psychologically precise descent into bureaucratic trauma, where every closed case carries the weight of unanswered questions, and every victim's name echoes through corridors built on compromise. From the first clipped narration, listeners are immersed in a world where urgency battles red tape, and justice is measured not in convictions, but in how many families were left waiting. Perfect for fans of authentic true crime-inspired fiction and stories that honor victims without exploiting their pain, this audiobook serves up relentless pacing, ethical complexity, and a protagonist whose journey from dedicated agent to systemic whistleblower resonates with anyone who's ever believed in a mission that stopped believing in itself. When FBI specialist Meri reopens 9 cold cases linked by a pattern no one wanted to see, she expects resistance, not to discover the connections were buried not by lack of evidence, but by deliberate omission. But as Meri navigates archived interviews and evasive superiors, she realizes this investigation isn't about catching a killer. It's about exposing a culture that deemed certain girls less worthy of pursuit. Holmes masterfully avoids reducing victims to plot devices or Meri to saintly crusader. Instead, she crafts a narrative where advocacy is negotiated in gray zones, where winning means risking career and credibility, and where the real enemy isn't the predator, but the apathy that let him thrive. The audiobook narration amplifies this tension with forensic precision, capturing Meri's disciplined focus fracturing into raw determination, while secondary voices shift subtly between professionalism and complicity, making every briefing feel loaded with unspoken stakes. You don't just hear the case unfold, you feel the seismic shift in an agent learning that integrity isn't a credential, but a choice made when the institution turns away. What elevates Nine Missing Girls beyond typical procedurals is its nuanced portrayal of investigative work as both vocation and moral reckoning. Meri isn't merely solving crimes. She's confronting how her own compliance enabled erasure, challenging the notion that competence requires detachment. Her relationship with the victims' families evolves through acts of radical witness, listening without agenda, doing late-night calls, protecting their dignity against media caricature, and honoring their rage as much as their grief. Supporting characters shine with uncomfortable authenticity. Veteran agents whose pragmatism masks trauma, young analysts navigating ethical minefields, even the case files themselves, rendered as living archives whose margins hold confessions official reports tried to erase. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In systems built on hierarchy, truth is insurgent, and loyalty to victims often demands betrayal of tribe. Even the procedural mechanics serve thematic depth, with timeline reconstruction mirroring emotional excavation and interagency friction becoming metaphor for societal bias. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive exercise in procedural dread. The narrator embodies Meri's evolving perspective with remarkable range, from polished bureau cadence to trembling vulnerability in private moments, while supporting characters are distinguished through vocal tugs, textures, hinting them loyalties without telegraphing outcomes. Sound design enhances claustrophobia without gimmickry. Distant phone rings marking familial desperation, the sharp click of file cabinets during tense discoveries, the oppressive silence of empty bullpens where priorities are quietly shifted, all ground psychological stakes in sensory reality. Pacing mirrors the rhythm of cold case work, deliberate during evidence review and reflection, then surging with urgency as patterns emerge in secrets breach containment. Whether you're commuting through city streets or sitting in quiet contemplation, the audiobook creates a portable war room where isolation feels absolute and truth feels a lifeline. It's storytelling as embodied accountability, transforming passive listening into active participation in a search where justice demands more than skill, it demands sacrifice. Ultimately, Nine Missing Girls redefines the FBI procedural by centering victim advocacy within institutional frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for intricate plotting and shocking reveals while delivering substantive commentary on gendered violence, professional identity, and the radical act of choosing conscience over career. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey and a powerful standalone entry. If you've ever wondered whether the system can be fixed from within, or if true service requires burning bridges, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most important verdicts happen outside the courtroom, in the quiet moments when you choose to stand alone. Press play, open the file, and prepare to question everything you thought you knew about protection, priority, and the price of remembering. Your next obsession isn't waiting in clean resolutions. It's waiting in the terrifying intimacy of realizing the missing weren't lost, but at the end.